Snake Eyes is finally breaking the mold out here and showcasing that, hey, maybe this engine is actually worth playing. Make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We're going to be looking at the 6th Net Championship breakdown here out of the OCG, and this is actually a pretty widespread amount of diversity here. We have Purely kind of bringing up the forefront of things here. Now remember, the OCG Purely variant is much different than ours because they just get to abuse Leap like crazy. And it amazes me that they continue to get away with that. We also have Kashtira here. Now, let me tell you what's hilarious about this Kashtira variant. They don't have Fenrir. They've been forced to find different ways to kind of try to make the deck function at the end of the day. And I think the OCG's done a pretty good job at that. Now, we have two Snake Eyes variants here. Now, they are separated based on engine, because the first one obviously is the Diabellstar package. This is the more standardized version that I think most people are going to be used to seeing. But there's also this Horus Snake Eyes variant as well, and I am genuinely intrigued by, you know, what the Horus package actually brings to the table across a lot of these decks. I think a lot of people kind of discount how gosh darn good the Horus package is at the end of the day. I mean, literally, it makes you turn your dead hand into something of actual value, and I think that's actually pretty good. Now, we also have Pendulum as well. I mean, when you have Electromite, I mean, you're going to continue to find some sort of ways to try to push the bill with that, right? And then, of course, Labyrinth. I mean, that's a pretty big mainstay name at this point in time. And we also have Volcanics kind of bringing up the rear here as well. And, I mean, I think most people at this point in time are not all that surprised to see that Volcanics have definitely been sitting here as one of those top-tier contending decks, because not bad at all. Let's pass on over to deck list. All right, our winning deck list here was none other than Purely, and you know, with the restrictions that they've got on this, with it behind the draw power, this deck kind of finds itself in some very, very hard positions to kind of fill out the gap and try to find that power. And I will say, seeing the shufflers down here is interesting. You do kind of need some of the little power that those cards do bring to the table, because let's be honest here, in the OCG with Tyr kind of running around in every other sort of environment, you don't want to deal with those cards at the end of the day, and I get that. They are pretty annoying. So you want to make sure that you can try to cover your weaknesses about as much as you can, and I think this deck does a pretty good job at doing that. Also, shout out to Mind Crush down there in the side deck. That's not exactly something that I've seen a lot of. Actually, I haven't seen any Mind Crush at all as late. I pretty much thought that card was out of the meta, or you were strictly playing Edison if you were trying to play that. Our second place list here is, man, look at this. Look at the one unicorn. Look what they have done to this deck. Look how much they've stripped this down, and they force you to make these suboptimal choices. You got to play Ogre if you want to try to even get this deck going. You no longer have Fenrir. This deck is such a former shell of itself, but they still have Diabolsis the Mind Hacker. So, I mean, what are they really complaining about at the end of the day? Diabolsis is one of the culprits that makes this matchup miserable to play against. And I will say that at the end of the day, not too bad. So, what else do you need to say? Well, maybe Arise Heart wasn't the problem. Maybe it was the unicorn in the Fenrir. Maybe it's those intricate parts of the deck that get the searching going that really kind of mess up what you want to see in the metagame. Nah, just ban Arise Heart, honestly, at this point in time. Let the rogue players, I guess, have their Fenrirs. Alright, so this is our Snake Eyes Diabellstar deck, and yes, that is a Pantura in the main deck. You know, when I look at a pile of cards like this, obviously, like the Ghost Trick package is going to give this deck some level up access. And by level up access, I mean, how many materials can we stick under the Zeus? A lot? Okay, well, that's what you're doing. The Ghost Trick shot helps, you know, speed up the process, because, you know, you can stick the level 1s together, then you can make the Mischief, go search for the Ghost Trick. It's pretty pretty straightforward stuff here. But, you know, the fire access that you get, the ability to basically make the F-Zero with relative ease is also pretty good. Because, you know, getting the revive, get the F-Zero set up off of the Ghost Trick Shot, it's pretty good at the end of the day. So, this right here, I think this is one of the coolest innovations that I've seen to date. And then, of course, we have some Adamantipator out here. You know, as long as Block Dragon's a card, I feel like you need to be worried about Adamantipator now. The TCG, we've cratered this deck off the face of the planet. Not a single soul ever wants to acknowledge this deck's existence, all right? I get that. I understand that. But it does show up every once in a while in the rogue category out of the OCG, and it strictly does everything that it once did, but it's just, its power scaling has, it's such a not threatening deck anymore. We've dialed back the power on this so much that it's kind of, I don't want to say fair, because, you know, Block Dragon itself is an inherently broken card at the end of the day, but when you kind of think about how much this deck still has full power, still is able to kind of set up the same boards, and how weak it feels at the end of the day, Naturia Beast is Naturia Barkion is still an insane, like, backup support line. All right, well, pendulums. Okay, we've seen the Dimensional Dragon stuff actually be useful in this deck. I mean, obviously one Astrograph. They still do have Electromite. I think the funniest thing about the lines of play for this deck is you have Electromite, you have Beyond the Pendulum, you have Exceed the Pendulum, you have all of this free-floating stuff that you can do. You even have the Starving Venomy Dragon on the side there as well for the Supreme King that you're able to just go ahead and chalk up, you know, all this free advantage. But what the deck does at the end of the day, it still can't consistently top 4. It struggles versus the rest of the meta. But the shiny new toys do step the deck up in a better positive direction. It just took 3 specific enhancing link monsters to kind of save this archetype, well, to save the value that we do have for this. So overall, I mean, Supreme King still is doing its thing. I don't know, whatever that is. Hey, it's Labyrinth. Where's my new guy? Oh, we're not playing the new guy. Oh, we opted to not need it. You are seeing the Resonator package in here as well. The Resonator package has been gaining a pretty interesting amount of play in the OCG with this deck. It depends on how much of the package that you want to splash to get the most optimal results, but you can have success on a multitude of levels with this, so kind of keep that in mind. The Resonator package adds in some pretty interesting stuff. Of course, you do see the transaction rollback there. I cannot stress to you how broken transaction rollback is for getting all of this extra Labyrinth pressure off on the opponent. All right, how many times can you transaction rollback big welcome Labyrinth in a game? Because that's where you're going to get all of your value. Your opponent's going to look at you and they're going to be like, man, you just set up on me, and like, it's nuts at the end of the day. Hey, so this is our Horus Diabellstar Snake Eyes package, and yes, that is a the Electromite Metal Foes monster in here, because it's a level 1 fire monster. So we have some interesting stuff with that. I see that we are playing the Metal Foes draw card in here as well, because I mean, you do see the sarcophagus. You can go ahead and discard it, get a free draw. That's probably like your best case scenario here, is you want that recyclability to make sure that you can kind of set up and start getting back some of the resources that you're paying for the gold sarcophagus or the pharaonic sarcophagus package, because it's still not inherently free at the end of the day. I mean, obviously you play cards to kind of alleviate the cost of that, which, I mean, if you truly want to go through and build the deck with all advantage engine discard fodder, you can do so, but it's not going to be successful. The best versions that you're seeing are going to be things like this that you can fit in these small packages into. And our last list here is actually Volcanics. I was very shocked to actually see that we could, you know, get the chance to get this deck to play. We are playing a Jet Synchron here because Diabellstar shenanigans. I mean, level 1 fire tuner monster that can revive itself. I mean, why would we not be playing that, right? Like, we're doing ourselves a disservice at the end of the day. Honestly, I didn't think that we would see Volcanics be successful. It's been a very long time. And I mean, you definitely need to get your ratios down if you think you're going to get a win with this deck. But I like what I'm seeing here. I'm happy to see this. So please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.